Good morning. Welcome to Sunrise Stroll, Chat and Share once again at Magdala. It's going to be a glorious sunrise, clearly. There's hardly a wisp of cloud anywhere to be seen. Delighted to have you all back on this precious Saturday morning, Shabbat. Started a minute or two early this morning because the colours were magnificent. In fact, they were incredible 45 minutes ago. But it wouldn't be fair to start 45 minutes ago. Welcome back to Magdala, everybody, to our Sunrise Stroll and Chat. It's great to see you all. If you want to see where the water sound is coming from, it's here. So this is part of the infinity pool operation. Oh, look at that beauty. Here we are at Mount Arbel in Galilee. And this is Ducan Altum. Look at this beautiful reflection. And inside we have the boat altar. Actually, there's a short video in German that I posted last night here on the same page for our German-speaking friends, and there was some views from inside. All the pictures are in English, so you'll understand the pictures. So here we are now, waiting for the sun to come up. Quite early. It started at 5:35 here this morning with this. Oh, there we are. There's the sun has arrived. What a gift, another day, starting with all this glory. If I zero in there, you'll see, look, zooming in. I'm saying zero in, zooming in. There the sun is appearing over the Golan, over the Sea of Galilee. You have these eucalyptus trees and palm trees. That's all the fruit. See all the dates coming here. Can I invite you to a date? A fresh date here from Magdala, but they're not ripe yet, okay? So I can't invite you. But if you look here closely, we can see them from this angle. The amazing fruitfulness of nature. The gifts of creation, the brilliance of creation. The sun is brilliant, but just imagine each of those little dates, how nourishing they are. They say a Bedouin can live on 2 dates for an entire day. Enough nourishment in each date. And they are so tiny right now, they will grow. Well, actually, these dates turn out to be not that big. And here you have somebody, some creature you know. Soter? Oops. Come on, look at the camera. Soter doesn't understand English. People, look at this. Isn't this glorious? I spotted something else in the last couple of days, and now we can go there. something that I didn't point out to you before. It's amazing all the little things that are around, you know. Beautiful surprises. The need to open our eyes each day to see the gifts around us, especially in the faces of people. Each person is such a gift. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's the water trickling over the edge of the infinity pool. Let's stop here for a second. And you can see this. Hey, that's pretty nice. Get your screenshot. Some people like to take screenshots. And I'm happy because they put them up then on their Facebook and they say, this is from Magdala. So it's helping everybody to understand that there's something beautiful here that God has for the hearts of many people. Sunrise stroll, chat and share here in Galilee. And there you have Mount Arbel. Let's come over a bit more here and get another little angle on this, because there now the trees aren't blocking the reflection of the sun. Ah, look at those beautiful rays. I imagine you have them also. I don't know how that effect is produced physically, but it's a delight to the eye. Here we're standing on top of the port of Magdala 2,000 years ago. And here we have this piece excavated over there. But we already did that, so we're not going there today. I want to show you something else. Let's just open this up before we go too far away. Isn't that beautiful? And at the same time, in a certain sense, not to be compared with what we have over here. This is called the sun, in case nobody explained to you. I'm not sure if you can hear the motor skis out there. They're pretty noisy. People love that opportunity to speedily raise waves. Thank you for those beautiful red hearts. I'm going to open this little chain here so you can see what I'm doing. There's a chain right here, or you can understand what you're going to hear. There we are. Sorry about this, people. There we go. Just had the tripod legs opened out, so I had to go around a little bit of a circle to get in through the gateway there. So let me show you something new that I hadn't noticed until some color started to change. Oh, you can see Mount Hermon. We got to see that. Let me do that first, because that changes very quickly the possibility through the haze that emerges with the sunrise in the summer. So I'm in the right spot. We have that very thin, tall palm tree, and that'll be our guide. And it's just to the right of that. And in the foreground we have all that brush, the reeds and bushes behind that. And then we have the hill of the Mount of Beatitudes. And then way behind that, it's a little bit not so clear for you here on the screen, but there's that little, yes, now you can see that. You see that rise behind the hill of the Mount of Beatitudes, like a big loaf of bread? That is Mount Hermon. Isn't that wonderful to be able to see Mount Hermon in East Malaysia this morning and to be able to see it in Alaska and California and Texas and Mexico and Ireland and Denmark, you know, all over the world, South Africa. There you have Mount Hermon. The snow on Mount Hermon. The high mountains always were an inspiration to lift up our eyes, to climb up, to get closer to the Lord. And here are our big, oh, there we have this beautiful reflection here in the water. So let me show you this one thing I really want to show you. And it's this little tree here. It's also a ponciana, and it's coming into full bloom. Like almost, oh, there we have those nice birds. Yeah, I kind of missed them there, but that's okay. So here's this little tree. It's very small. It's just about 2 or 3 feet taller than me. And it's blooming in every direction. The ground is very rough here, so understand my difficulty. I want to get on the light side where the sun is shining so that you can see the color. Look at this. And there's still many buds to blossom. Oops, be careful, my tripod is stuck here in the grass and the weeds. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? And look what light does, because if we tried to film this an hour ago, it would be too dark. Imagine every person in the family is going to blossom one day if they haven't blossomed already. And people that sometimes blossom on their deathbed. Their faith grows, their love grows, their legacy grows. Some people say the 60s are the most productive years, and so many people go into retirement in their 50s. What a pity. Let's check this out a little closer. You see all the green buds are in there still waiting to blossom. And then I found something else that I have to share with you. I hope I don't lose the focus. Just stay with me if it goes out. But here in the ground there are lots of little blue flowers that I'm surprised to find. Look at those blue flowers. I'm trying to find the spot where I can get the camera closest to them because I have it mounted on the tripod. It's not easy. Maybe I can just fold a leg here of the tripod and get down. So watch this here. Look at these nice flowers. So our flower experts will have to tell us the names because I don't know the names. And there's actually 2 different types of flowers of relatively similar color. I just noticed now. Come on, little flowers, where did you go? There we go. You see? And they have this little yellow center. And then we have these other ones over here that I think are different. But maybe they are different. It's a different plant. Look at these. Now that's interesting, you know. And we have the morning glories, and they're just opening up over here in this shady spot. Now that I learned all that from you guys. The morning glories. And then there are yellow ones here that look like dandelions. And this is a little stream of water. We have water flowing here all the time. In fact, we have 3 different streams flowing out into the lake. So that's our contribution to the lake rising, which continues to rise. Well, actually, no, it's starting to drop because they're letting a lot of water out right now. So now let's go back toward our favorite spot. After that little stroll, little wake-up stroll. We'll catch a little glimpse here on our way. Yeah, there we go. A little glimpse of light on that window. Isn't that nice? Let's take one more glimpse at that here. Something not to neglect. Now that's a nice shot. Welcome everybody, we're at Sunrise Stroll, Chat and Share here at the Sea of Galilee in Magdala. It's Shabbat morning, Saturday morning, and some people are out here on the lake already for the last hour, and they're with their boats and their motor skis or jet skis. And here we're at this beautiful spot that we all love. I don't know if you can see the jet skis. I must open this up for you, but right now let's focus on something else. You all know what jet skis are like, but you're not all at the Sea of Galilee every day, so let's do this here first. Here we have this beautiful sunlight and sun rays. And let's turn to the text. Wow, the time is flying. So we're following Elijah, and what the liturgy does, it picks out key texts from key moments to give us a global view, and there's so much in the Bible, and covering it in a 2-year cycle is quite the challenge, you know. So little by little. So today we're at 1 Kings 19, verse 19 to 21. And it's a passage I always remember very often for a number of reasons. From my farming background, and also from my travels from Magdala to Jerusalem and back in the Jordan Valley. And a place here that's mentioned, we actually go by it on that trip. Elijah set out and came upon Elisha, son of Shaphat, as he was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen. He was following the 12th. Elijah went over to him and threw his cloak over him. You were passing on the mantle. That's an expression in the English language, you know. And it's used a lot in politics or sometimes in corporate leadership. And it's an interesting thing. It's passed into secular language usage, and its origins are in this ancient biblical time custom, which indicated the transmission of mission, of authority, of a role socially. So it's a very interesting image, and there we have it. You know, the biblical accounts have formed language and have formed people's imagination and cultural ability to express themselves. So he threw his cloak over him, and Elisha left the oxen, ran after Elijah, and said, "Please, let me kiss my father and mother goodbye, and I will follow you." Elijah answered, "Go back. Have I done anything to you?" So Elisha left him, and taking the yoke of oxen, slaughtered them. He used the plowing equipment for fuel to boil their flesh, and gave it to his people to eat. Then he left his family and his farm, and he followed Elijah as his attendant. You remember before that, Elijah was very, very depressed. He thought he was the only one left. And he went to Mount Sinai, and God said to him after he heard his voice in the breeze yesterday, "What are you doing here, Elijah? I didn't call you." But obviously Elijah was looking for God because he was so distressed, so depressed, so broken with all the challenge with Ahab and the false prophets. And now he's re-strengthened, and he finds a successor. What a joy it is for parents to have a child. And for grandparents, and I know great-grandparents. In fact, you do too, because they were on our program there on our little stroll last week, Jan and Mies, and they're quite young and they're great-grandparents. So, what a great joy to see the next generation. And in very tough times to see the next generation coming. What a fulfillment for the human heart. It's also a great bridge into the future, knowing the limits of our own time, our own mission. Because we can't be defeated by the end of time. We are called to go on forever. forever and ever. And obviously, human generation doesn't do that, because the children will also die and the grandchildren will die. And so the promise of eternal life is so vital for us, so essential. And yet it brings so much joy. And it is a true joy and a true gift that God blesses people, couples, families with children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Even if we didn't know our great-grandparents, we had them. And they left a lot in our lives through the formation of our grandparents and the influence they had on our parents, should they have known them. Now, a little funny thing is, I always think, gee whiz, why did Elisha burn those good plows and kill those oxen? Well, he was happy and everything like that, but he left his livelihood. That was his stake. He was following the 12th yoke, the last one, like David with the smallest kid with the sheep, you know. And he burned the bridges, like to say, he burned the boats, and he just had to stay and dedicate himself to the new mission. It's a sign of great commitment to be able to do that, to follow that call, that grace from on high that commands my whole heart and soul and life. But I often wonder, you know, pity he didn't give that plough to his brother and the yoke of oxen, you know. But, well, there's an end to those material things too. And especially when God comes into our lives and changes everything. And if we remember in the passage of the gospel, there was a fellow who said, let me go back and say goodbye to my mother and father. And Jesus said, nobody who looks back when he's plowing will plow straight. So he had that whole idea of plowing there in his mind, because you have to keep watching the plow and keep looking forward. You can't look back. When God is calling you to a new step, don't look back. God is calling you to... This corona period is a huge game changer for a lot of people, a lot of institutions. Imagine all the people that are so struck they lost their work. Or they're pondered, is this my work? I need to be doing something else. Is this where I need to be putting my life's energy? Is God calling me to do something else? This is the big challenge, you know. To be able to then say, okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to change. There's a very concrete history and geography in these things. And it's the history and geography of my own life. I even see it myself, you know, thinking of Elijah and Elisha and our farm and leaving my farm. And I was going to quit school at 1972. And I would inherit the farm, even though I was the oldest and there were still a lot of small children. But I'd be working with my dad for the next 20 years and then I'd inherit the farm. Now my brother is there because the Lord called me to do something else. So it's amazing, you know, this whole experience. And you just drive down towards Jerusalem, an hour south of here, down through the Jordan Valley. Well, we can't see it from this perspective here. But south of Bet Shean, once you enter the West Bank, there you have a place called Meholah. And this is where Elijah found Elisha on his way back from Mount Sinai. Now the next line matches this very well from the Psalm 16. You are my inheritance, O Lord. You are all I own. You are my inheritance. Not the little cottage on the hillside, not the little chalet by the lake, not the house in downtown, the apartment, not the old house that I live in that was belonging to my grandfather. You are my inheritance, O Lord. Not some rings I have, not some old pictures I have, because I'm going to meet everybody in glory. You are my inheritance, O Lord. We love this world. It's so beautiful that God created. It has a lot of problems, but we also love it. And we feel at home here, and we want to make our home here forever. And we imagine heaven like this, but this is a fraction of heaven. This is just a little ray, like that little ray of light on the camera won't light up my book to read it. It's just an image on the screen. All of our reality here is passing. You are my inheritance, O Lord. What an incredible psalm. That's verse 5a in Psalm 16, the first part of verse 5. Keep me, O God, for in you I take refuge. Okay, I confide in doctors and I ask them for help, and I know that they have studied and they will help me and everything like that. But you are my inheritance, Lord. You are my refuge. We pray for people to get cured. And we get lots of prayer petitions every day, and you can send them also private if you want through Messenger. No problem, delighted. And we all pray, and it's wonderful to hear prayers answered. But some people sometimes pull out their hair when somebody is called to eternal life. There's no need to do that to your hair and your scalp. There we need the great trust in God's mighty providence. And He sure does miracles, but He also is calling and preparing us because He is our inheritance forever. And in a certain sense, all of us who are committed to religious life, we don't own anything. A vow of poverty, I don't own a single thing. I don't own this camera. And in a certain sense, you don't own your camera either, because it could go bust tomorrow and you can't keep it. You know, what do you own? Like a big business, a big airline company, now it's bankrupt. You know? It's amazing how we don't own stuff, we don't hold it. It's not ours, we're custodians. Our inheritance is someplace else. And that's the meaning of the vow of poverty that religious have taken ever following Jesus since then. And I would say that's already prepared with Elisha leaving everything and Abraham leaving everything. Well, he did take his cattle with him and his sheep. So let's move on to the gospel, and there's very little time left, but I'll cover it at the Mass this afternoon. And it's about swearing. And when you hear swearing, you think of cussing and using bad language and profanity, but the meaning of the Bible is about truth and truth-telling. And we obviously have in formal circumstances the oath, which is very formal and very serious, sworn in the Bible. But Jesus gets to the core of the matter. He said, don't be calling, and it's a lot of expressions of a very troubled heart, you know, but go to the heart of the matter and be truthful. Be truthful. Let your word be yes, yes, no, no. Be truthful. And this was in Matthew chapter 5. We're still with the Sermon on the Mount. So I think we're at the end of our tether this morning, or at the beginning of our tether. Some of you are going to sleep. Good night in California and west coast of the Americas. And here, good morning and good afternoon to the people in Singapore and Hong Kong and Australia. God bless you all. It was a delight having you. May the Lord bless you and hold you in the palm of His hands and light your path with His wonderful light. See you later, alligators.